It's sad that conventions aren't really a thing in 2020. Luckily for you, we've decided to throw our own hypothetical convention, CBR Con, and you're invited to look at all the great cosplay you've been missing all year. Every single convention, whether we're talking about Comic-Con, WonderCon, WizardCon, or the criminally underrated DragonCon, the journey always starts the same way. You gotta wait in line to get your badge to get in. So CBR Con would have to start the same way, right? It may seem tedious at first, but there's something about it that slowly builds the anticipation. Like an opening boss of a video game that stands between you and unlocking the game's sprawling open world. The wait for your badge often feels like a worthy challenge. It especially helps when you start seeing hints at the great cosplay that awaits you once you enter. So let's say you're standing in line, waiting patiently to move forward. When you spot them in the distance, a group of friends is assembling to take part in the con. Not just any friends though, these guys are the frickin' Avengers. While it's awesome to see your favorite superheroes on the screen, there's a special childlike sense of glee when you get to see them in person, especially the screen-accurate ones. You see the Avengers assemble for a few quick pics with a well-done Loki and move inside the con. That's it, the excitement has finally peaked. Luckily for you, now the line starts moving forward. So what's it like after you get your badge and you actually enter the con? Well, you remember the scene from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory where the kids get to run through the candy forest? It's kinda like that, only better, because there are no tiny creepy Oompa Loompas singing about your impending doom. Man, they're creepy. While every good con is packed with more things to do than you can possibly get into one day, we all know what the best part is. You see, while some rush to get their schedules going to plan out the day, others just pop up with their cosplay ready to be admired. For whatever reason, it's the anime fans who often come out in full force. So you come inside and what do you see first? Well, you see all your favorite heroes in the flesh. Class 1A from My Hero Academia, Goku from Dragon Ball Super, a ton of ninjas from Naruto, and more titans, Shinigami, Demon Slayers, and JoJos than you know what to do with. At this point, you realize you're basically gonna have to delete everything off your phone. You're gonna take a whole lot of pictures. Once you've spent a good half hour with all the super cool anime cosplayers, it's finally time to get into that vendor area to buy all the coolest stuff. If you've never been before, it's like a nerdy dream. There's artwork and props from various properties, not to mention more shirts and hoodies than you could possibly buy. Honestly though, that's not the coolest thing. No, if you're going to a con and you've got big money to drop, you've got to get you a personalized lightsaber. Ask Luke Skywalker or any hardcore Star Wars fan, and they'll tell you that you can buy any lightsaber from a store, but there's something special about building your own. Luckily for you, you're not alone. That's right, as if to complete the lightsaber building fantasy, you look around to see pretty much the entire Star Wars universe surrounding you. You've got Han Solo, Darth Vader, Chewbacca, and all the Jedi, Sith, and Mandalorians you can handle. This is definitely the way. You follow them to the fast food area that's decorated like a cantina, and you all take pictures and drink blue milk like you just stepped foot in Mos Eisley. The people that run these kinds of conventions know the deal. They know that everyone comes here to celebrate what you love, and maybe live in the fantasy just a little bit. It's sort of like Westworld, but without the sad robots and the confusing second season. In order to help this fantasy along, they'll often hang banners depicting cool, well-lit backdrops to really make the finest cosplays pop. That's why we here at CBR Con decided to hang a special treat. A shot of Gotham City for all the Batman cosplayers to pretend they're hanging out on a rooftop in Bruce Wayne's hometown. To paraphrase Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. Every hero and villain from Gotham waits patiently for their chance to pose in front of the city's skyline. We're talking Batman, Nightwing, Red Hood, Batgirl, Two-Face, and Riddler, and anyone else you can think of. Also, there's 1,000 Joker and Harley Quinn couples. I don't know why, but every con has at least a few dozen of them. You manage to take enough pictures of them to satisfy your inner Batman for a while. Of course, after you ask if it's okay first. Rule number 1 of cosplay photography, always politely ask if a picture is okay first. Just because you're in Gotham doesn't mean you gotta act like it. Sometimes when you're at the con, you have the terrible inevitability of being pulled away by your fun, so that you can have some other fun. Frankly, it's the kind of thing that makes you wish you could get one of those time turners from Harry Potter. I mean, they usually sell them there, but they're always just decorative. Trust me, I've tried. So what would be cool enough to pull you away from a literal Gotham City? Well, Dante Basco from Avatar: The Last Airbender would probably do it. That's right, our modest little convention pulled the voice of Prince Zuko himself, and you get to hear him speak. Only you get there and notice that's only one of the awesome things that are happening in that room. Surrounding the man that was once Rufio are dozens of awesome Avatar cosplays. After Bosco's panel, you get to hang around Sokka, Aang, Uncle Iroh, Azula, Katara, and like a half a dozen Zuko's. I mean, it's a panel for the literal Prince Zuko, so you know there would be a ton of them, right? There are a ton of panels and fun things to do, and sometimes you only get to see a bit of what the other cool kids are up to. Luckily, sometimes you bump into cool people while they're getting released at the same time you are. That's exactly what happens when you step out of the Avatar panel to see the Witcher Season 1 discussion letting out. That's when you see like 30 Geralts walking out. Some in full armor and some with Geralt's mold chilled out clothes. The thing about these cosplayers is that they usually look pretty cool and are very aware of it. Something about that Geralt looks brings out everyone's inner Geralt. You hang out with them for a bit, but you all kind of keep your distance from the Geralt who is a stuffed unicorn. That guy might be a little too in character. Most awesome cons feature a gaming area full of both old-school arcade games, newer console games, and fancy games from Japan. Now this is something that most people can do without being at a convention. We've all got consoles at home and there are tons of arcades out there. So what exactly do you get from a con arcade that you don't get anywhere else? Well, imagine watching a real-life Scorpion and Sub-Zero playing Mortal Kombat against each other while several Nintendo cosplayers are spectating. Have you ever seen Scorpion do a fatality on Sub-Zero while several people dressed as their favorite Animal Crossing characters watched? Now that's an arcade experience you can't get anywhere else. Just stay away from the Super Smash Bros. Section unless you're basically a black belt with a GameCube controller. Seriously, I've learned this lesson the hard way. The only thing worse than getting taken down by Cloud Strife is being taken down by Cloud Strife as a guy dressed as Cloud Strife. One of the best things about conventions is that there's so much cool stuff going on that you can often just wander into one of the coolest things you've ever seen. Seriously, there are so many great cosplayers and interesting things to do that turning every corner is exciting. It's almost unsurprising at this point when you step out of the CBR Con arcade, only to see a ton of zombies walking your way. You see, there's this thing called a zombie crawl that a lot of cons do. It's pretty much exactly what it sounds, but there's no formal definition for it, so I'll do it now. Zombie crawl. A parade of scary zombie cosplayers who are all far too into character. Seriously, I don't know what it is about spending hours getting into your zombie makeup that makes you act like you're straight out of The Walking Dead, but it freaks me out. Hey, I'm not Daryl. I'm the quirky comic relief guy that's only a guest star a few episodes before he gets eaten alive. I appreciate you zombie cosplayers. I'll just appreciate you from a distance and hang out with the Ricks and Michonnes who are normally close by, you know, just in case. Cosplay is all fun and games for most people. For some though, it's battle. That's right, there are some intense cosplayers out there. These costume ninjas will spend hours and hours over a sewing machine so they can crush their enemies into submission. Funnily enough, these cosplayers are often dressed as peace-loving Disney princesses. So at CBR Con, you stumble upon the most coveted horror the convention has to offer, the Disney Cup for the best Disney cosplayer in the land. This is where you'll see all the greatest Disney princes, princesses, and everyone in between, in some of the most stunning screen-accurate works that prove cosplay is an art form. If you think it's impossible to cosplay as a ridiculous character like the Beast or Lumiere, you'd be wrong. This takes cosplay and turns it from a fun extracurricular sport to basically the pop culture costuming Olympics. I wouldn't want to be the person who has to judge a ton of incredibly impressive Disney cosplays to find the ultimate one. Oh wait, I am that person. This year the award goes to... at Tracy Hines for her gorgeous Belle costume. Congratulations, Tracy! You probably won't ever see this, but please accept this screenshot of a PDF clip art trophy I found on Google Images. I hope you cherish it forever. San Diego Comic-Con still holds the title as the Comic-Con for a good reason. I mean, sure, there are still a lot of conventions that can compete in terms of numbers, activities, vendors, and after-parties. CDSCC, however, is the place to go if you want front-row seats to the next slate of Marvel movies or a fresh new Batman trailer. That's why CBR Con is looking to compete with a new, awesome event of our own. We'll be screening the first part of the 4-part Justice League Snyder Cut. I mean, it's an imaginary convention, what else would you put in it? So we'll show it to you right now. Well, we'll show you approximately 3 seconds of it. That may have been in the DC fandom trailer. Luckily for you, if 1 hour of Justice League action isn't enough, the room is swarming with DC cosplayers. Sure, watching the Justice League is cool, but getting a picture with them is even better. Especially if a non-Momoa Aquaman holds the camera. Sorry, bud, there's just no more room left in the picture. We'll Photoshop you in later. If you're going to a comic convention, you better expect to see a ton of Star Trek fans. Star Trek conventions have been going on since the early 70s, and it's retained a good deal of popularity ever since. Now with Star Trek Discovery, Picard, and the newly released Lower Decks out, you know that Trek fans will be out in full force. probably debating whether or not these shows are any good. I mean, you can't really expect a franchise whose big climaxes usually revolve around an impassioned speech from Sir Patrick Stewart to not attract a lot of fan debate. Luckily, there is a thing that will make Star Trek fans happy: a live podcast from the real Voyager actors Garrett Wang and Robert Duncan McNeil. Their Delta Flyer podcast have been one of the coolest things to come out of 2020, and it would be great to have them at our imaginary convention. Afterwards, you'll be sure to spend some time checking out the awesome Trek cosplay. These fans usually go to great lengths to purchase or make screen-accurate uniforms or complex handmade costumes. It goes to show that the optimistic future from Star Trek might be a long ways off, but apparently sewing is about as technologically advanced as it's ever gonna get. It's always great to see cosplay individually, but there's something incredible about seeing a bunch of random cosplayers together. Have you ever wanted to see Goku hanging out with Superman, Princess Peach, and a giant inflatable Jurassic World dinosaur? Well, a big convention is probably the only place you'll ever get to see something like that. It's a magical environment where every person there is setting aside their adult problems in favor of returning to that childlike sense of play. Let's face it, we've all had way too many adult problems and could use a little bit more silliness and fun. That's why we'd enter the CBR Con with a giant cosplay parade through the entire convention to bring all the epic cosplayers together: DC and Marvel, Star Wars and Star Trek, and Harry Potter and the lady who created Harry Potter can all put their rivalries aside to march together in unison to the love of all fandoms out there. As we're bringing this mythical convention to a close, you might be sad that such an event seems like a far-off thing in the wake of current health concerns about large crowds. That's why I'm here to tell you that CBR Con wouldn't just be a physical convention, but a virtual one too. Perhaps one of the coolest things about a convention going virtual is that you can get pictures from big-time celebrities in cosplay. While every decent convention is filled with high-profile guests from your favorite movies and TV shows, they aren't always having the most fun. Instead of going in cosplay, they go as themselves so that they can speak at panels and sign hundreds of autographs. Then they have to smile as they take pictures with guys who have dressed as Boba Fett for 13 hours in the hot sun with no deodorant.
And take a shower, you smell.
So our convention would feature big-time celebrities showing off their cosplay skills like any other fan. I mean, what better person to cosplay as the Incredible Hulk than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? Sorry all other Hulk cosplayers, but he wins. Yes, even you, Lou Ferrigno. I know that a fact that Dwayne Johnson is a huge CBR fan too, so he'd definitely participate. Just don't fact check that. Which celebrities would you want to see in cosplay? Chris Evans as Iron Man? Robert Downey Jr. as Captain America? Ryan Reynolds in a Green Lantern costume that doesn't suck? Ha. Cosplayers might not have a convention to go to this year, but that doesn't mean they aren't still killing it on a daily basis. That's right, cosplayers are not letting a pandemic get them down one bit. The internet is flooded with daily pictures of cosplayers showing off their epic new costumes. I mean, what else are you supposed to do in quarantine? There are only so many times you can rewatch The Office, you know? At some point, you might as well sew a dress or learn to mold latex into an awesome batsuit. So for our special CBR Con, we like to drop a shout out to all those at-home cosplayers who've been bringing us a little bit of that convention life we've been missing. Not all heroes wear capes. Well, except for those of you who are wearing capes. So what will the conventions of the future look like? Well, there's some good news and some bad news on that front. The good news is that there will definitely be conventions in the future. The bad news is that they might be a little different than what we're used to. It's entirely possible that convention in the near future will feature social distancing rules, mask guidelines, and limits for how many people can be in a panel at once. The silver lining is that these are things that cosplayers and convention goers already know how to do. You want to talk about masks? Cosplayers know everything about masks. An N95's got nothing on full Mandalorian armor, a Wookiee head, or a Deadpool mask. You could go totally as Kakashi from Naruto, Sub-Zero or Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and the Winter Soldier from that one fight scene where he does that cool knife flip thing, you know. Also, don't be afraid to use that mask to brighten up your non-masked cosplay. It could easily be thought of as an accessory to what you're doing already instead of an annoyance. What would be better than a Justice League Superman cosplay with a mask over your face that has a picture of that terrible CGI Cavill face? I don't know about you, but that's just gold. So from all of us at CBR Con, we want you to be safe. We want you to have fun, and we want to see all of your awesome cosplay when we all get together next. Whenever that's gonna be. There you have it. Our convention that hopefully put away some of your cosplay blues. What would your dream convention look like? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more from CBR.